Everybody, thank you for joining the ACA Small Business Bootcamp for this Tuesday, October 19th. Excited to have everybody with us. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services at the Arizona Commerce Authority. If you're not familiar with the bootcamp, first, we want to thank you for being here. And two, we want to let you know that we like to start by thanking all of our community partners. We could not do these boot camps without our community partners, their time, their effort, their expertise. They've all been great partners and have brought us a bunch of boot camp sessions. So a small business boot camp is designed to help small businesses return from the COVID crisis stronger than ever. It is a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners. And not only is it these webinars that we do every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m., but because we've been doing so many webinars every Tuesday and Thursday, over the last year and a half, we have a great resource collective and a massive content library. And I want to touch on these here right now. So the resource collective is a web page we set up, and you can find it on our basic bootcamp website. The bootcamp website, about in the middle of the page, you'll find the link to the resource collective. And it's additional tools and guides brought to us by our community partners to help support and assist small businesses return stronger. There's guidance, business essentials, marketing strategies, et cetera, that you can utilize to help grow your business. Also, as I mentioned, it's a content library. We've been doing the boot camp since April of 2020. We've done, as you'll see here in a bit, we're coming close to our 200th episode, our 200th session. And we record all of our sessions except for when there's licensing challenges with some of the larger companies such as Google and Facebook and so forth. However, we have about 180 recorded sessions, and these recorded webinars and the presentation resources create this massive content library that you can access at no cost. You can review any of the previous webinars. You can download the materials that were provided. You can share them with your friends. You can see on the screen here, it's gonna be real small, but on the Bootcamp website, at the very bottom, you'll find the archived, and we list it by week, and you can click the plus button to expand the week and see what boot camps are in there and what topics there are. If you have a particular topic you're looking for, you can send Faith or Lisa or myself an email, and we can guide you to the proper week or proper session for the materials you're looking for. But we have this massive content library, again, available at no cost for anybody that needs to benefit from these resources. A couple other websites that are very important are the state's COVID-19 information and resource website, arizonatogether.org. And then the Arizona Commerce Authority set up the next website, azcommerce.com/COVID-19, and that is the COVID-19 Business Resources website. And on there, you can find additional business guidance, financial information, other tools to help navigate through COVID. The ACA also has a number of other programs to help support small businesses throughout the state. Of course, our small business services, our workforce division can help support employers, not just those, and not just people looking for work, but they do support employers with programs that help them find employees. And we recently had a boot camp session by our workforce team that talked about the programs that support employers. And then our Arizona MEP, our Manufacturing Extension Partnership. They can work with small to medium-sized manufacturers to help meet their needs. Additionally, for those looking to start a business or grow and expand their business with different product lines, we have our small business checklist. And this is an online interactive tool designed to help entrepreneurs identify the commonly requested licensing, registration, compliance needs at the local, state, and federal levels. So with that, we want to jump into our update section. First, we have there's a new Maricopa County program, the Small Business Resilience Program. We are doing a boot camp special session tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. And we are going to have on Local First, Prestamos, and Maricopa County to talk about this program and how it's being rolled out to the community. It is Maricopa County specific. but we wanted to make sure everybody understood how to take advantage of this for those living in Maricopa County. So please join us tomorrow for that special boot camp session. Additionally, on Thursday, we're going to talk more about PPP loan forgiveness. If you have a PPP loan and you have not sought forgiveness, you need to apply for forgiveness. It doesn't come automatically. And you can join us on Thursday for a boot camp session to talk about forgiveness, and you can ask your questions there as well. The EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, has been expanded from a total loan of $500,000 up to $2 million, depending on your business needs. And you can go in, and if you received an EIDL loan, you can apply for an increase if needed through the SBA. And again, that program is run directly through the SBA and not through the banks. And then the employee retention credit, just want to talk about that. Continue to talk about it because it is a great opportunity to receive. I saw it somewhere about up to $33,000 per employee. It is a complicated program, so you're going to want to work with your accountant. If you do not have an accountant, you'll want to reach out and chat with one to take advantage, but the funding may be worth it for your business. So with that, let's look at the upcoming sessions we have. Tomorrow morning, our special session, accessing the Maricopa County Small Business Resilience Program. Then Thursday, small business PPP loan forgiveness. And then next week, we have the top 10 legal mistakes small businesses want to avoid. And then we have a new session by today's presenter that we haven't touched on this topic yet, but your business on TikTok. Many know that TikTok is an up and growing and very solid social media platform with lots of people on it. So we want to have a presentation to talk about how to leverage that platform. And then the week after that, the first week of November, we have on Tuesday, November 2nd, how to handle haters. We all know that during the holiday season, people get stressed out, and sometimes they can be difficult to deal with, or we can be difficult to deal with. And so this session is going to help us learn how we can deal with some of those people that are just having a tough time during the holiday season. And then on Thursday, November 4th, really excited. I hope everybody can attend this session. It's our 200th webinar. Very excited to celebrate that milestone with everybody. When you think of TV programs and their 100th episode, that's usually a few years in the making because they only do a handful of episodes every year. But within a year and a half, we're hitting our 200th Bootcamp webinar. We're really excited about it. And this is a very special one because this week in November is the SBA's Veteran Small Business Week, and we are participating in that program with this bootcamp. And it's going to be focused on veterans business programs. So if you know veterans, and they don't even have to live in the state, if you know veterans that are entrepreneurs and want to start their own business or have a business, invite them to come and join this session so they can learn of the different programs that are out there to support our veteran entrepreneurs. So with that, we want to go ahead and turn the time over to today's speaker. We have Eli Shimon from Neon. He's the CEO and founder. Eli is a multi-time entrepreneur. He is a small business owner with Neon, and he has significant experience working with ASU and teaching classes as well, and is going to share some great information with us today on how, as a small business owner and entrepreneur, he's been able to leverage some of these marketing techniques. So Eli, I'm going to stop sharing and turn the time over to you.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks everyone for joining. I'm excited to share with you the workshop today. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Are we good, Robert? Can you see everything?
Looks good, Eli.
Okay. Well, as Robert mentioned, my name is Eli. I have started 5 companies in the past, 2 of which have exited, and I've had my share of failures as well. And really what my passion is, marketing and brand creation. And today, what I'm hoping to accomplish in this workshop is to give you some marketing tips and tools to use in your business, mainly from a high level perspective of some strategies that you might consider for your company. especially as it pertains to small businesses and maybe not having such a big marketing budget, or maybe an agency that is associated with your company. So the goal of today is, again, to discuss these multiple strategies and to think about marketing and the difference between marketing and sales. My current company is called Neon. If you've ever been to a hospital where they have those TV screens showing you informational material, or if you've been to a restaurant that's using a TV screen for a menu board, my company Neon provides the software that actually runs those screens and helps marketing managers and marketing directors update the content on the screen all remotely from a single dashboard. So that being said, the goal for today is to go over some marketing mindset ideas, to go over some marketing strategies, to talk about how you execute some of these marketing strategies, and there's some additional resources that are available to you in the end. Feel free to kind of write down your questions in the Q&A section as they kind of come up. I'm going to wait until toward the end of the workshop to kind of respond to those. So as they kind of come up, as you have different questions, just feel free to kind of write them down. I'll go through them toward the end of this workshop. All right, to begin with, let's go ahead and talk about the difference between marketing and sales. This is a pretty big deal because a lot of times you think that whenever you create a marketing campaign, the goal of it is to generate sales. But sometimes, depending on the marketing campaign that you are creating, there's a big difference here in terms of the results that you actually get from it. From a marketing perspective, the goal is to get your brand out there, to get that brand recognition. And eventually that might convert into a sale, but there's not a necessity to immediately get that. There's really not direct formula to say, if you conduct this marketing strategy, this is going to lead to this much sales, especially from a small business perspective where you have not tried a lot of marketing strategies. My main goal for today is to really show you a couple of tools that you can pick up and you can say, all right, well, I'm going to use these 3 marketing techniques. I'm going to run them, and we're going to see how it affects sales. So we're going to talk about tracking some of those marketing techniques and how that affects some of that conversion as it really relates to your brand and process. So for example, sometimes you might run a marketing campaign that leads to a lot of followers on social media. Those followers don't necessarily equate dollars in your bank account, but eventually, if you know how to conduct a follow-on marketing strategy that engages those followers, then you're able to maybe perhaps convert some of those followers into actual clients with sales dollars that are reflected into your bank account. So the main thing that I want you to remember for today is some of these marketing strategies are not going to be creating an immediate impact on your bottom line in terms of sales. Some of them might be just creating an impact in terms of the brand that you might know, the brand that people know, and some of them might be actually generating direct leads into and direct revenue directly into your funnel. The thing here is, depending on how big your team is, understanding that marketing and sales are 2 different persona on your team, 2 different people, is also a big thing to understand. Sometimes you might have a great marketing strategy that leads for people to come on your website, fill a form, and maybe say, hey, I'm interested in your product, if you're selling a product or service. But then if you have a bad sales system that does not follow up with these leads, does not have a good maybe demo set up, does not have a good sales relationship, no matter how many leads the marketing funnel brings in, your conversion rate from a sales perspective is still going to be low because you did not build up that second piece of the funnel. So one thing I want you to understand is when you're building these marketing and sales strategies, make sure that you're not only looking at marketing and defining the results as like, oh, this strategy failed. Make sure that you're also following that customer journey to understand what happens when I'm promoting this. When I get a customer, where is that customer going? And do I have this system built out as well? So from that perspective, I'm a big believer that if you're a small business and if you're a startup, you probably don't have a lot of money like a big brand to spend it on marketing. You don't have the money to buy these big billboards or to buy TV ads. So there has to be a better way to create some marketing buzz for you and some ways to generate attention, whether it's for your small restaurants, your food truck, an event system, a charcuterie board, whatever it is that your business that you're doing, accounting services, doctor, or whatever it is. You need to make sure that you do have some budget allocated for marketing, but I understand some of the techniques today will be really covering some ideas that will require a very low budget, but more effort from your team. So although you don't have the budget, this is where the investment is going to come in, is from the time and the resources that your team is going to have, because you need to basically allocate some or you're going to need to dedicate some time for this to really make it work. It's not just going to happen overnight. So from that perspective, let's go ahead and talk about some marketing strategies and some marketing ideas that make sense. The first one is all about content creation. So I'm not sure how many of you are on TikTok, and as Robert said, we have a follow-up workshop that is regarding TikTok. But if you are a B2C business, if you are selling your product or your service to a consumer, you got to be on social media channels, but not really posting content like, check out this new thing and check out this new thing. It needs to be more storytelling. It needs to be more engaging with the customer base. For example, if you're on TikTok and you follow Texas Bee Works, this business owner, really what she does, she has a business that she removes bees, and she has these like super captivating videos of her actually doing her job. So it's nothing crazy that she's going out of her way to film. She's literally just grabbing her phone and showing people the behind the scenes of her job. And she has about 9.8 million followers. Now you might ask, are those 9.8 million followers customers for her? Absolutely not, right? Those are people who might engage with her brand, who engage with her social media, but they might not even live in the territory that she even services. But the idea here is creating content that captivates, that shows maybe behind the scenes, that shows more about the persona of your staff, of your people there. That's really what really resonates with people. Do not overthink this. Put yourself in the shoes of a consumer. Sometimes you might see a video on social media that you feel is like too cheesy or too stuck up or just way overthought. You want to make these like very good quality, but really very casual, very friendly, that I feel that I'm part of your business. So that's kind of idea number one. It's not really going to cost you a lot of money. I'm going to mute this here. But as you can see, really what she's doing is just showing some behind the scenes stuff. She has some captions over what she's saying. And this video kind of goes on for a good 3 minutes. And I believe it has like 6 million likes on it. So just kind of from a perspective of this is just shot with a regular phone, not very highly produced, and it's still getting that engagement from a content perspective. The next slide that we're going to focus on is your local influencers. So there's two sides of this. One is you need to understand that local influencers could be either micro influencers, for example, a mom that maybe has 1,000 followers and there are like, friends and family or a dad or a guy or a girl or whatever it is. These are considered, people who might come to your restaurant, people who might use your service, who have about 1,000+ followers are called micro influencers. And what those really influencers do is your job is if you see someone following you on social media, go through your Instagram, go through your Facebook, go through your TikTok, and then see who's really following you. As you click on their profiles, if you see anyone that has more than 1,000 followers, what you want to do is you want to kind of take a step to reach out and say, hey, do you want to come over for dinner? It's on us. We just ask you to kind of post about it on social media. That is one relation that you can build with local influencers, where you're being more proactive about reaching out and basically saying, would you like to be a micro influencer for us? Remember, this person is not a social media influencer. This person probably just goes out and posts about their food or posts about activities that they do. So when they post that, hey, I went to to this diner, or I used this service for carpet cleaning, it's going to come very passive, very non-advertising, very non-promoted, because it's like, oh, this is Bob recommending this. Bob used this service and Bob liked it. So it's going to come more as a passive recommendation. And that's why we call it micro influencers, because the people who will actually see that content tend to be people within that circle of Bob, right? From the other angle, if you notice on social media, and you probably get someone that reaches out to you, say, hey, I'm a local influencer. Really, this is my job. I just go around and I film videos of trying different boba drinks in town, and I would like to kind of be in your restaurant. Are you willing to kind of give us a free drink or allow us to film in your facility? The idea here is what you need to understand about that persona is this is more as a dedicated content generation. So this is a channel, this is a person that actively generates content. And that's why they want to reach out to you, because they want that content. They want things to cover, they want things to highlight. And sometimes it might be a free feature and sometimes it might be a paid feature. This is kind of up to you at this moment to really analyze how much reach do they have, how many followers do they have. Look at previous posts that they've done. How much engagement did that get them? And do you really believe there's a value for them, for you to give them, one, a free product, or two, maybe give them, $50, $100, $200, whatever it is, to really post about your business and reach their customer base. So the benefit of this is you're going to get, more, probably better produced content that you can probably take and repost on your channels and give credit to the creator versus kind of that local influencer. So those are kind of two different channels that you can tap into in terms of the influencer market. And then all you really have to do is just go on social media and just search hashtag like, Phoenix Eats or restaurants Chandler or things like that. And you can kind of start seeing some of these influencers pop up and just reach out to them and be proactive about it. And this shouldn't really cost you a lot of money to do so. The referral program is idea number 3, or also known as affiliate programs. So this is basically can be run in 2 ways. One is, hey, recommend a friend and we're going to give you $10 off. And companies all the way from, Chase, all the way down to small businesses should be using this, because if I'm happy with the product, I'm happy to kind of recommend it to someone else. You just need to give me the ecosystem to do so, and you need to give me the motivation to do so. Don't make it difficult. Don't make it complicated. Don't make me share links and that are too complicated for me to sign up to. Make it super easy for someone to sign up and get that referral credit. And then once they kind of get a taste that, hey, this referral credit is actually working, that if I referred someone, I actually got a benefit of it, then they're going to go ahead and keep doing that. That kind of becomes part of that recommendation system. The affiliate program is a bit different. The affiliate program really works well if you have an e-commerce website or if you have a product that you're selling online. An affiliate program, what it allows you to do is, let's say you have a big following. Let's say someone that has a big following network, someone that has a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel or things like that, where you can basically work with them and say, hey, go ahead and promote my website, go ahead and promote my local restaurant. And anyone who basically comes to my website and buys something using your link, or anyone that comes to my restaurant and mentions your name, we're going to give you 20% kickback. We're going to give you 10% kickback. So really any website, including Amazon, Target, Walmart, they all have affiliate programs. If you've ever watched YouTube videos, you probably see, those YouTube videos that say, hey, do you know about investment? Go ahead and use the link below to sign up for Robinhood. And basically every time someone signs up using that link, they basically get a kickback. So affiliate programs really work well from a business perspective if you know how to identify the right people to reach out to and make your affiliate program super easy to follow and have that link that's easily trackable for someone to really get a hint in terms of how successful is their promotion going. Number 4 is creating content that triggers emotional response. This is a really big thing for me. I've had multiple companies where I've used this technique. It definitely works in terms of sharing that content everywhere. I'm not going to play this entire video here because it's a bit long, but I'm going to share this deck with you, and you're welcome to kind of watch it on your own time. But American Greeting, they did this video. It was super easy to do. As you can see, it's done over Zoom. So the price for it, the budget for it was very low. And really all they did was they sat there and they posted a job. They posted a fake job, but it was, people applied for it as it was a real job. They did actual interviews, and they basically are talking about this job and saying, hey, this job requires you to stand up all day. Hey, this job requires you to be on 24/7. This job requires you to wear multiple hats, and it's called Director of Operations. And by the way, this job is non-paid. And then you can basically see the reaction of these people as, you can, I'm just going to kind of skip right here. You can kind of see their face. You can see the reaction of like, why would I take this job? Like, I'm interviewing for it. Why would I do this? Why would I take this? And then they kind of drop it on top of it as, hey, this job is actually free. This is a non-paid job, and this is, you're not going to get paid for it. So as they go through this, you're wondering what sort of job is this. They're engaging with you. They're kind of keeping the suspense toward the last 30 seconds. And they finally say, actually, there are billions of people who hold this job around the world. And that job is the job of a mom. And they basically take that story to basically lead to a message that says, this Mother's Day, get a card and say thank you to your mom, right? Because she has the ultimate job. So it goes from shock to confusion to ultimate a tearjerker, because they kind of spend a portion of the video where they're like, what would you say to your mom in that card? And that video got hundreds of thousands of views. And as you can see, the quality of it is super, super basic. There's nothing too crazy here in terms of the production, but thinking about that extra out of the box idea of how you create content, that content creation is not only about posting on Instagram and Facebook about oh, cool, look at the sale that we're doing right now. So don't use your channels to always sell. Use them to create some sort of a story that resonates with people and wants to engage with your brand on that level. Switching over to audience involvement. Many of you probably already do that if you have any social media channels, which is asking people to post their own content and tagging you with it. This is a really big deal. This kind of links back to the influencer topic that we talked about. But from this perspective, doing some sort of a competition, for example, show us, if you remember the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, it was all over YouTube a couple of years ago, and it became viral from that perspective. Thinking about content that allows people to engage with each other and build that human connection while your brand is just a part of it. Instead of having your brand to be the main highlight of the entire thing, let people kind of create their own stories around your brand, and your brand is just kind of there to support that momentum. From that perspective, I'm just going to skip right here. We're going to talk about gamification. This is a great idea, but it is limited to success depending on the kind of business that you have, right? So sometimes gamification really works well if you have a tech business or you have an online business where you can kind of tap into that model a bit more. Or you have more of the ecosystem that allows you have a lot of followers already. So this really works well from that perspective. If you tend to be more on the smaller side, like a smaller restaurant or things like that, gamification tends to be a bit more difficult, but I've seen it work. For example, I've seen restaurants that they have hidden logos all around their restaurant, like just kind of vinyl stickers all around the walls, and basically says, hey, find 10 logos, post about them on social media and get free fries, right? So some of these ideas is what really matters, is to really take the idea of gamification of how can we activate someone who's on our door. If you've ever been to the Phoenix Zoo or to the aquarium or anything like that, you see there's a lot of activation there in terms of gamification. Check this out, take your photo here. And what you'll see is this opportunity to create these moments for people to engage with. So is there a spot in your business when someone is in your store to really engage with them and have them, take a photo or have their impact go beyond that store? Is there a way that if you have an online presence, if you have an online store, if you're a service provider, is there a way to really gamify that experience? I mean, the simplest form of gamification, to be honest, is your punch card. If you remember, if you're a coffee shop and you have a punch card that has, get 10 punches and get one for free, that's pretty much gamification, right? You're trying to get 10 tokens and you're redeeming that. That's like one of the basic forms of gamification that you can use in your business, depending on what it is. I know I'm speaking a bit fast, but there's a kind of a lot of content to go through. And I know we have about 30 to 40 minutes. So I want to leave enough time for you to ask questions. So that's why I'm kind of going through these topics, but we can dig into them a bit deeper and maybe during the Q&A session. But also, if you want to reach out afterwards, I'm happy to help and support the community as well. The idea number seven is developing strategic partnerships. How many times have you been to a coffee shop and you see business cards just like lying around everywhere? You see them maybe on boards and things like that. How many of you actually pick up those business cards? No one does that, right? Like you're there for coffee. This doesn't really make sense of why you would do that. So it's like, but people keep doing it, and then they're shocked when they don't get a response from it. So the idea here is, how can we take that simple idea, right? Like the concept of, I'm going to go to a coffee shop because I'm a real estate agent, and I'm going to go ahead and put my business card on the board, and I'm just going to expect clients to come my way. We all know that doesn't really work, right? Like, we've all experienced it from a consumer perspective. You go there and you see all these cars. You're not going to sit there like actually sifting through these cars to find your next real estate agent. That's not how it works. But maybe we take it one step further. What if that real estate agent actually went to the coffee shop and said, you know what, I've noticed that you put these cardboard sleeves on every single cup of coffee that you actually hand out. I would like to sponsor the next 1,000 coffee sleeves that you actually hand out. And by sponsoring that, I'm going to give you these coffee sleeves, and they're going to have your logo on one side, but they're going to have my contact information on the other side. Now, instead of just having a business card that sits on a bulletin board or on a cork board, now you're actually giving something for the coffee consumer to take with them. Your brand actually went from just being on a board to something that they're going to put maybe in their car, to something that they're going to basically bring with them home, to something they can bring to the office. So allowing you to kind of associate your brand with this existing brand that people love. People love this coffee shop. People already go there. How can you engage with them and make it a win-win situation? How can you partner with that coffee shop to make it a great deal? And I've seen this work in a lot of different situations, anything from, sponsoring cups to doing partnership packages. For example, you probably have seen it, book at this hotel and get 2 tickets to this attraction, right? That's a partnership. That the idea is, it's a combined value proposition for both businesses. So both businesses are actually getting a benefit from it, but also the consumer is getting a really nice benefit, and they're getting exposed to both brands. So think about it from that perspective. Think about, how does your business, where do your customers exist? How can you get to those customers, but how can you make it a value proposition to that channel, which is the other business that currently exists? And if you're 2 local businesses that you're trying to support each other and you're trying to kind of reach the same people, how can you make it beneficial for both parties to do so? As the holidays are coming up, with idea number 8, there are a lot of events and there are a lot of holidays coming up. So make sure that you take advantage of that. Holiday season, as you can tell from all the retail shops, the Christmas trees are going up these days, October 1st, before even Halloween and Thanksgiving. So how can you really take advantage of that? People start thinking about the holidays. How can you activate that? Some of the very basic ideas that you probably see a lot of restaurants do around the holidays is, buy $100 worth of a gift card for $75, or buy a $200 gift card and get $25 as an additional gift card. So those are kind of some ideas that currently exist in the market from a restaurant perspective. Is there something that you can do as well for that? The other really big thing, if you take some of the ideas that we talked about in the beginning, which is building a connection, building stories, building videos that kind of resonate, are there any local nonprofits that you can actually partner with? Do you have a message? Do you have a business? Do you have an offering that aligns maybe with a local nonprofit? And is there a benefit for you guys to partner and work together in order to create a campaign that benefits the nonprofit, benefits you, and create this really nice alignment between those two? So those are kind of just some ideas of different things that you can do. And then I want you to think about every marketing campaign that you do, how much repercussions or how much ripple effect is that going to happen? Is that going to have? So, for example, let's say you partner with a nonprofit and you decide to do a food drive for the holidays. Now, that food drive is not just the marketing campaign. Your ability to take that food drive and create maybe stories behind it and videos, the ability to create posts on social media, the ability to engage with local influencers. As you can see, these ideas are not independent from each other. I want you to kind of pick 2, 3, 4 of them and see how they tie up together with a specific idea. Never run these ideas in a series to each other. You're like, okay, now I'm going to try partners. Oh, that didn't work. Now I'm going to try social media posts. Oh, that didn't work. What you want to do is you want to have 3 to 4 campaigns running in parallel across these multiple channels to really give you the ability to test what's working and what's not, and to amplify your reach across all these different channels. What you don't want to do is, you're going to end up spending a lot of time and a lot of money if you run one campaign at a time, because it's going to take you a lot of time to have a lot of learnings, about what works and what doesn't, what resonates with your customer and what doesn't. And the second thing is going to take you a lot of money because you have to like restart the engine every single time instead of having this like really nice marketing idea and then running it on across multiple channels using some of the examples that I've just given you. The number 9 is ambient marketing. Think about this as what can you create that will make people remember your brand a bit more. So this could be from an engagement perspective. This could be a brand new idea that never existed before. I'm not sure how many of you have been to a Michelin star restaurant, right? You hear that a lot, right? If you watch any of Master Chef or any of the Gordon Ramsay, you know, this is a Michelin star restaurant, Michelin star restaurant. Do you know where that really started? So everyone knows Michelin tires, right? They're the tire company. And really what happened is when they started this whole idea of Michelin restaurant, they started from the perspective of people were getting these cars, but people were not going out as much. They were not going to restaurants. They were not driving. And when they're not driving, they're not using their tires as much. So they needed to come up with an idea to make people use more of their tires, to have wear and tear on their tires so they can buy more tires. And really the whole idea came from a Michelin star is let's go out, let's put this ranking system and let's start rating these restaurants as Michelin star restaurants in order to engage people and excite them about going out and trying all these different places. And that's really where the Michelin star idea came from. So you can see that really, you know, the Michelin star restaurant rating, no one associated that with tires. And necessarily at first thought, you associate that with a really nice restaurant. But from the perspective of your business, what can you create that kind of goes a bit more guerrilla style, that goes a bit more out of the box, that kind of engages customers in different ways, that your brand can be part of that journey, but not necessarily the central part of what they're doing. They can, you know, be enjoying restaurants, but really it's because they're driving and they're going out there. And that's why they're using up their tires. So that's just a cool idea that I always thought was interesting. I mean, there's many and many stories, including like, you know, diamonds live forever, right? And all this marketing campaigns regarding diamonds. So you got to think about your brand. How can you think a bit out of the box with that? And then, you know, it really helps to kind of create some marketing workshops where you kind of sit with your team and brainstorm some ideas of like, how can we think a bit outside of the box other than just like creating an Instagram post and expecting people to show up to our business. So from that perspective, sorry, YouTube is playing over here. Number 10 is taking advantage of your expertise. This really works well if you have more of a service-based business. So for example, if you are a CPA or if you're a lawyer or if you're a graphic designer, can you create content that is more of resources for people? I've seen this happen a lot, especially with real estate investors and real estate management companies, where they create maybe an Excel template that shows here are possible expenses that your rental could have. Here's a rental application that you can download. How many times have you been on a website that says to download this document, go ahead and enter your email? What we're trying to do here, what these businesses are trying to do is offer value, offer content to a customer base that's interested in that content. And really what they're asking in return is just an email. So you're not really completing a sale necessarily. So this goes back to the first slide of what we talked about. Marketing doesn't necessarily equal to sale, but you're collecting information. You're getting a database of a list of people that say, hey, I'm interested in rental services. I'm interested in you know, DIY lawyers. I'm interested in DIY lawyers. I'm interested in all these different services or products. And what you're really doing is basically saying, okay, this person is interested, this. I'm going to get this email list of about 100 people. And then I'm going to start the engagement process. I'm going to follow up maybe with an email that basically said, hey, I noticed you downloaded this document. Is there anything I can help you with? Maybe a phone call follow-up. So this is the part of marketing is going to get you the lead. Sales is going to engage that lead in order to convert them into a customer. And that's what really a expert in the space will create. You create those content that you believe are valuable for your businesses. So that being said, I know we're kind of coming short on time with 20 minutes left. The biggest thing that I want you to remember is when you create these marketing ideas, there's really no direct way of knowing which idea is going to work or not immediately from the top. There are maybe some indications that say this idea might be better for my business versus the other. But the biggest thing is you gotta test and measure. You don't really know how any of these ideas are going to perform unless you actually do them. So make sure every time you come up with a marketing idea, you set a time scope. Say, okay, I'm going to run this campaign with this local influencer for 4 weeks. I'm going to see what sort of results I get from it. Don't let campaigns run forever. Make sure that you are specifying the time of the campaign and specifying the result that you want to expect from that campaign. So what would be a good result for you? If you partner with a local influencer, they do a post about your business, are 10 customers showing up to your business, is that good enough? It really depends on what you're trying to sell or promote here. For example, if you're a CPA service and you know the tax fee to complete one tax transaction is about $700, maybe getting 2 or 3 customers is a really good win. But if you're a restaurant that, you know, the typical sandwich price that you have is $10 to $12, getting 3 to 4 customers there, maybe that's not a win. So it really depends on your product and the offering that you're doing and the channel, but make sure you are running multiple marketing campaigns in parallel and you're measuring each one of those separately. So as the goodie bag over here, there are some resources that I'll share with you. Again, I'm happy to share this deck with Robert and Faith and Lisa, and they can share this information with you as well. So if you want to create graphics, for example, there's Canva. If you want to help with social media posts and creation, there's Buffer. And there's multiple resources that you can kind of kick into here in terms of marketing ideation and planning, especially as you kind of start exploring some of these ideas. So that's pretty much it. Before I open up to question, I do want to thank JP, who is on my team over here, who really created this beautiful deck and helped compile all this information into a nice presentable way for me to share with you. And I'm just kind of the face presenting it to you. So thanks, JP, for doing all the nice work and for all the great graphics in the presentation. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions.
Excellent. Post your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A. We got plenty of time with Eli, so please ask up about your marketing questions.
Maybe I should have spoken some slower.
We said we got a comment of thank you, great tips. Appreciate that. Isaiah, will the deck be available for viewing? I missed the first half. Yeah, Isaiah, the deck will be available and the recording of the whole presentation. We have one in the chat. It says, how do you decide what to give for free?
Do you mind sharing what is the business? What's your business offering?
I can't tell who that's from. Let's see. Educational products.
So with educational products, is your customer a school or is your customer like a parent and the kids?
Parent.
So for example, doing maybe taking all the educational content that you have, creating taking one chapter out of it or taking one simple worksheet out of it and making that as like, hey, download this sheet to find how good your son is at algebra math, right? Or how good your daughter is in science, right? So doing these like maybe small evaluations and putting putting it on your social media channels, but also partnering with existing content outlets. So anything from a blog to maybe running like a small PPC campaign, like throw $50 at it and see how many people download that sheet. That will get you a data list of possible parents that are interested in learning more about your educational product. Again, I gave you a very high example, not really knowing what your product is. I think once I know what the product is and what you're trying to sell, what's the price point, I'm able to kind of customize that. So feel free, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn afterwards, I'm happy to kind of give you a more detailed answer after I really understand what the business does.
Next one, we have another one that says, any recommendations more specific to business?
Yeah, so depends on what you're selling. If you're selling a SaaS product, then a business to business partnership, the best way to kind of get out there is find find current distributors in the system. So for example, let's say you're selling, for example, for Neon, right? My company, we sell digital signage. The best way to kind of get into businesses, especially big corporations, is we partnered with a local distributor that currently offers tech products to different hospitals. For example, that distributor offers them the computers, offers them the internet service, offers them the routers, and we basically became a product. We became an offering as part of their portfolio of stuff. So partnering with a distributor to kind of get into these big clients, that's one way of doing it in terms of activating your sales from a B2B perspective. If you're doing more of a SaaS product, the content creation model, offering free trial system, offering, no credit card sign up, that would be kind of the way to do some of those products.
Excellent. We have another question. This is, do you have any specific ideas? And they're in the medical massage spa industry in a town with lots of competition. So there's lots of other therapists and the spas.
So if you have a lot of spas and therapists or massage therapies, one thing I would probably consider is, this depending on what kind of, if your service is more therapy based or if it's more like relaxation based, here's an idea. I would probably find maybe some of the injury lawyers that work locally and try to partner with them in terms of like, hey, you just got in an accident, get a free massage at this place, right? So then that could be a marketing campaign that they pay for in order to kind of stand out from their other lawyers that are in town. Another thing in terms of a massage idea or a way to stand out is, do you have any highlighted local influencers or any micro influencers that can start showing on social media that more people are coming to you versus the others, right? Getting that third party content instead of you kind of posting your own content, that would be definitely one way to do it. Building some loyalty systems into your ecosystem. So if you are in a plaza that has other stores there, are there other stores that might collaborate or align with your offering to make sure that now you're exposing your business to them, and then vice versa? So those are kind of just, again, some high level ideas. Usually the way I do marketing ideation is, grab a pizza, grab a whiteboard and sit down for 3 hours and try to spitball ideas on the board and then do research to see if it works. So I'm just kind of spitballing ideas at you right now without knowing too much about your business.
Excellent. So another really good question here says, what advice do you recommend for businesses as a first step for effective marketing?
I would say start figuring out what is the trigger that is causing people to buy from you specifically, right? So once you figure out what's that emotional trigger, why are people picking you, then creating content and creating campaigns around that trigger will be the easier part, so to speak. Because if you, and the best way to do that is just ask customers, right? Ask, how many times have you been on a site that says, how did you hear about us? Because they're trying to collect that data. So if you have someone who's actually walking to your door, ask those questions. Why did you pick us? How did you find us? Did you, maybe they picked you because you had good Google ratings. So try to understand what's triggering the current customers to engage with you, and then build upon that.
Excellent. And then we have another question says, what tools do you recommend for tracking results? What would you measure?
Yeah, so we use HubSpot as a good tool to kind of just engage to see how people are going from the, here's a marketing campaign that we've done, here's how many people engage with it, here's how many people ended up landing in our funnel and converting, so you can kind of follow that entire sales cycle. It does, I understand it tends to be a bit more cost prohibitive maybe for some of the small businesses. There are other tools called like Buffer, like Hootsuite and things like that that might offer a more affordable solution. But really what you're doing is if you're running 2 to 3 campaigns, your ability to kind of put them on an Excel sheet and see, hey, this campaign engaged that much on social media and that many people showed up, and really just tracking it manually, that is the best thing that I would tell you to do, especially if you haven't done a lot of marketing strategies, just because it allows you to kind of dig into a bit deeper to realize what's happening with those campaigns and adjust more quickly in order to hit the goals that you really want.
Excellent. Another great question here says, if you are new to all this, what is the best way to outsource and find pros at reasonable fees?
Yeah, so we use Fiverr a lot. Fiverr is a great platform that you can find people who complete tasks. The thing is, it's going to be a bit harder for you to find people who come up with a creative idea behind your marketing campaign. That is going to be something that is you as a business owner need to come up with, or you as your team, or maybe get inspired by something. So I use Upwork, so you can find talent all over the world. And, it really allows you to kind of tap into the potential of multiple countries. And we have, our Neon team is all over the world. Really, we have people all the way from India to the US. If you want to look at local options, you have multiple universities here in Arizona, including, ASU, NAU, U of A, GCU. These universities have very passionate students. Finding someone who's at a junior or senior level who has maybe some knowledge about these topics and creating some sort of a paid internship for them to help you create some of that content and activate it would definitely be a good way to go. I've done multiple programs of internships with students, or even posting jobs for entry level, and really understanding that they are going to be entry level. It is going to be a bit more time consuming in terms of training them and managing them. But depending on what your product is, you might find someone who's super passionate about it and is able to just take your idea and run with it and really deliver on it.
All right. Let's see. That was a great response to that, Eli. Another question we have is pet product manufacturing company with an e-commerce website with no social marketing this time. What would be the first step?
You say pet?
Pet, yeah.
Oh my God, people love pets on social media. Like that should be your channel to like film videos of dogs, create competitions of, cutest dog award. And then have people submit videos to your social media channel and make the award, like people don't really care about the financial award for that. They just want to say, my dog was top 10 as the cutest dog on this channel. Creates, I would say, engaging with your current audience through social media content creation and creating some of these awards to get the word out. And again, you're not doing a lot of work from your side. You're expecting them to create the content. You're expecting them to generate a lot of that stuff. And you're just kind of tagging that along. Just, include terms of service that say you can use these videos for marketing collateral as you kind of grow these competitions. But, the pets category is usually, the highest viewed content on social media overall. So your ability to kind of take some of that stuff and engage with your audience and really build on that. I don't know what your product is, but I would say in the beginning, just to build your audience, just go the cute pet route or the rescue route or any of that stuff. Partner with local rescues, talking about local partnerships with nonprofits, partner with a local rescue and see what campaigns you can do together. So those are just kind of some ideas on top of my head, just when I hear, a pet business.
Okay. A couple more social media questions.
Yeah.
One is ask how many followers you should have on a platform before promoting things like affiliates, local influencers, etc.
So I try, if I'm going for a micro influencer, I try to find someone who has like, 500 to 1,000 friends on Facebook. and about 500 to 1,000 followers on Instagram, right? I'm looking for, again, I'm not looking for someone who's like a social media star who posts wherever they go. I'm looking for someone who has, a good friend network. And if they say, oh, I was at this restaurant, oh my God, I had a great time at this restaurant, or I had a great time at this hotel, their friends are going to be like, because they're not going to think of Bob or Sue as a social media star. They're just going to think they went there and they really enjoyed that experience, right? So that's kind of the part of it. When it comes to actual local influencers, you're probably looking at someone who needs to have 5,000 plus followers, 10,000 plus followers, in terms of considering spending some money for them to promote your business. But you have to understand, for example, if you have TikTok and you're in the restaurant space, these influencers are looking for content. They need to go to restaurants so they can create content, so they can engage with their own audience. So you inviting them over for like a free dinner and or a freebie or a free massage or whatever it is, they're just using that to create content as well and talk about their experience. It doesn't always have to involve a form of payment necessarily.
How many followers should the business have before reaching out to micro?
Oh, how many followers does the business have? I would say that's really not really the goal here, because the influencer is just looking for a cool experience to cover. It doesn't matter how many followers your business has. You should be looking at it the other way, how many followers the influencer has. For you, I mean, you could be a brand new business, but you created this brand new milkshake that has 17 scoops of ice cream and this like really weird thing. And you reach out to Robert and be like, Robert, I saw that you have 5,000 Instagram followers. We created this really cool milkshake. We would love for you to try it. Do you want to come over tomorrow? Like, that's kind of the theory that you're going behind this. Like, I don't, my business has, it could have 100 followers, and it also depends on your business, right? If you're a B2B business, your Instagram and Facebook presence is not going to be really that big. You're not going to get a lot of followers if you're selling to other businesses. But how can you create that story to engage with people who are just regularly on social media, not necessarily the business behind it?
All right, and then a follow-up with that, a different person, but they said, any advice on how to get over not being totally into social media from a personal standpoint in order to utilize it more for advertising and marketing? So I guess,
yeah, if you go on my social media, I have nothing personal on my social media, because I'm like, I'm not gonna, there's nothing about me that I want to post. But it does have a lot of things about business, and once you realize it's part of you being a business owner, there's some things that you like, and there's some things that are going to suck. If you don't like social media, you're just going to have to, I had to get adjusted to it, and I was forced a couple of times to kind of just get back on social media. But you got to understand that you, as the business owner, you are the brand. People don't care where they get their milkshake. They don't care where they buy their pizza. They care that they're buying it from Robert, because Robert is a good guy, and Robert is the business owner, and I know his story, and I know it's locally owned and things like that. So by the end of the day, I know it sucks, but you gotta be that extrovert for a couple times a week and post about you, post about your staff, and use those social media channels. I know it's not the answer that you want to hear, but it's part of the journey that you gotta, it is the platform that you get your brand out there. And if it's going to help your business, you just have to suck it up and do it.
We have a lot of questions and we don't have time for all of them, so I'm trying to find ones that match up. Here's one that's interesting. It's because it's a tough industry. It says, we offer engineering solution services that appeal to the railroad industry, and to minimize downtime, minimize failure of parts. Is creating a general information video about the train industry, commercial, commuter, industrial, meaning moving products from suppliers, stores. When there's a failure of rails, it causes disruption of a variety of customers, etc. Trying to think out of the box, since this is a hard industry to market to.
Okay. So who is the customer that's buying from you? So it says offer engineering solution services that appeal to the railroad industry. So you're selling your engineering services and saying hey, if you don't hire us to help you optimize your railroads, then you're gonna lose this much money and not being on track. Is that kind of the idea, Wyatt? Is that the business that you're offering? Like you're offering engineering services to existing railroad businesses, and you're saying, hey, if you don't use us to optimize your infrastructure, you're going to be losing that much money. You're going to have that many delays. Is that kind of the idea? Okay. I would say in that category, one, I would definitely look into trade shows and seeing how you can activate through trade shows to kind of stand out as a brand. This seems like a very niche business, and your ability to kind of target that customer base would definitely be highly valuable. I would create more of a, did you know videos or 60-second videos that you can use to hit on LinkedIn primarily. It really depends on what the title is of the person that's actually buying your service. So is it a CTO at a company that's buying your services? What is the title of that person, and does that person exist on LinkedIn? But it also seems that this might be a good opportunity for even like outbound calling, where you might use like a Zoom info, for example, and get a list of CTOs who work in that specific industry, and then have an SDR just like dial and be like, hey, we discovered a real breakthrough here in terms of how we can optimize your railroad system that helped other customers save over 20%. I'm not trying to sell you anything here, but if you're open to exploring this or kind of seeing what's out there, would you mind grabbing 20 minutes maybe on your Zoom to maybe explore this some more? So kind of make it more of a passive informational mini webinar that you can conduct with these CTOs, just because it seems to be such a niche business.
Excellent. Thank you. Great response. We are at time. We appreciate all the questions, a lot of good questions. Just a reminder for those looking for more digital online materials, keep an eye out. We will have another Small Business Digital Academy cohort take place in probably February. We are wrapping up our current one and will not have one through the holidays. We also have additional marketing and social media presentations in our archive in the content library. So definitely take a look at those. And we will have more marketing webinars to come as well. So we appreciate everybody attending. Eli, we appreciate all the great information and the responding to all those questions. And with that, we will let everybody wrap up and get to the rest of the day. We hope to see you on the special session tomorrow and on our boot camp on Thursday. Until then, everybody have a great day. Thank you.